Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about nutrition and blood pressure and how what we eat and drink on a day-to-day basis plays into our health, especially when it comes to our blood pressure. Here I have a diagram of a program called My Plate. Some of you may or may not be familiar with it, but My Plate is actually a healthy nutrition program that is designed to provide health information and nutrition information to individuals who are wanting to eat healthier and or are trying to make sure they're eating the recommended servings of fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy. And I just want to spend a little time talking about this here because, like I mentioned at the beginning here, that what we eat and or drink does play an important role in our day-to-day um, lives and our overall health. And when it does come to the topic of blood pressure, what we do put in our system does affect us when we do receive a blood pressure reading. And according to the My Plate plan, a healthy eating routine is important at every stage of life and it can have positive effects that add up over time. It's important that we do eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy. Um, when deciding what to eat or drink, we should choose options that are full of nutrients, making sure that we make every bite count. There's a saying that you are what you eat, and that does have some truth to it. Now, according to My Plate, this system is more designed to make sure that you make sure half your plate includes fruits and vegetables. Now, given the diagram here on the screen, this is basically split into four sections, and it's just given like specific servings of what food group we should, how much we should be eating of each food group. So when it comes to fruits, My Plate does suggest that we aim for at least 1 cup of fruit every day, but 1.5 or greater is always good as well. When it comes to vegetables, that's like 2 to 3 cups each day if possible. Dairy would be about 2 or more cups each day. Grains, this is about 6 to 8 servings each day. And then for protein, this can vary. Um, you can you can have about 5 to 6 servings of protein each day just to ensure that you're incorporating all the different food groups and you're getting the recommended amount and of nutrition. I wanted to provide a little explanation here on a tutorial on reading a nutrition label. Being that I've given you some information regarding My Plate, it's important that when we go into the grocery store, we do pay attention to what we're actually picking up food wise. And, you know, on the back of every item or package, there is this nutrition label. And I just want to go over these different names and explanations, starting with one, the serving size. It's always important to look at the serving size because this will give you an indicator of um, how much you should be eating of it when you go to actually eat the product. And two is how many servings per container. So what this is how many servings actually like how many servings does this product provide? Like if this was a bag of chips, this would basically be 8 servings, and then the serving size would be 2/3 of a cup of chips. So now for three, this lets you know how many carbs are in the item. Four, where it's highlighting dietary fiber, sugars, protein, and then we have our vitamin, calcium, iron, and potassium. This is important too because depending on like, well, it doesn't depend on age, but it doesn't matter what age you are. We need to make sure that we are incorporating our vitamins, making sure we're getting enough of our vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium. This goes for magnesium as well. And it's always good to focus on foods that do have protein in it, to ensure that we are meeting our daily protein needs. 5 here, this is our daily percent daily values, and these are very important as well. Some of you may remember from the pre-test that I gave you all, there was a question on there that says the 2020 to 2025 dietary guidelines for Americans recommend that Americans consume less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium each day as part of a healthy eating pattern. And I'm going to be reviewing that pretest very soon, but I hope that most of you did say agree or strongly agree. And if you didn't know, that's fine too, because prior to this internship and doing some studying, I did not know myself about this recommended amount. And this is true. This does come from the Dietary Guidelines for Americans, which is associated with my plate. This is where I've received most of my information for the purpose of this video today. So, and when you think of 2,300 milligrams, you think, whoa, that's kind of a lot, but uh, you wouldn't think that you eat that much sodium in a day, but Americans do tend to overconsume sodium, and sodium does play a big factor in our when it comes to blood pressure because it can make it rise. And most of the sodium that we do eat in our diet comes from packaged and processed foods. And 90% of the sodium that we do consume is in the form of salt. So now that we know this, how are we going to reduce like our sodium intakes? Like reflecting back to the 2,300 milligrams, like if you know that you are consuming more than 2,300, then this slide is going to speak to you because it's important that we don't overconsume sodium because salt unfortunately plays a bad factor in our health and not only with high blood pressure, but stemming from high blood pressure comes cardiovascular disease and it just stems on other health issues. Next time you're going grocery shopping or getting ready to prepare something in the kitchen, here's a few things to think about. Um, try to try to buy fresh or plain frozen or canned vegetables if possible. Like try to steer away from added salt in the vegetables that you consume. Now it's okay, if you do get it, because if you do get um, canned foods, you can always, once you open it, you can rinse out the canned item to reduce the sodium level in that. I know with some beans that I buy, like red and black beans, I will open them up and then with the lid, well, that aluminum top still on, I'll run water in between it and then that way I can flush out most of that sodium because, unfortunately canned foods do sit in a lot of sodium. Try to, if you can, buy fresh poultry, lean meats, and fish. When we say lean meats, we're talking about like ground turkeys or salmon. And I do realize that, you know, some some lean meats can be high, but there are different ways to work around. There's like ground chicken, try to aim for like skinless or boneless meats as well. And we discussed that more than 90% of the sodium we consume is in the form of salt. When it comes to table salt, try to use salt-free seasonings at the table instead of like the little salt shaker that's on the diagram here. There are some salt-free seasonings such as like Mrs. Dash, and there's quite a bit more, but I do use Mrs. Dash, but I make sure to use it sparingly. And then you can also use them salt-free seasonings while cooking too, because like I mentioned, this will help to decrease the overall sodium intake that you have. Now, I've listed a few community resources that I found that could be helpful for people in the McDowell County area. Um, I listed the McDowell County Health Department and then the McDowell County Commission on Aging, which you all are all participants of. And then I listed Tug River Health Association. What I did was I had just Googled some free or community public health resources for the public, just in case someone who wasn't a participant of McDowell County Commission on Aging, they could go somewhere, because all three of these resources I've mentioned, they all provide blood pressure screenings and general health screenings. So this is not just for like basic men's or women's services. Like they all provide blood pressure screenings in case someone does not have health care or is under insured. And just to provide a little overview of what we've went over, just be vigilant that what we do eat and how much we eat and or drink does play a role in our everyday health. Sodium is an important contributor to our high blood pressure. Um, and then reducing sodium intake not only reduces high blood pressure, but can prevent cardiovascular disease. And as we've been talking about, cardiovascular disease does stem from high blood pressure. And, you know, it's important that we do work to reduce our sodium intakes as much as possible, because just small changes in our everyday lives amount to greater health in the future. And here I just provided some references that I use for this slide. Thank you all very much, and I hope that this has been educational to you. And if you all have any questions or would like nutrition pamphlets or brochures, I could speak to Dr. Donald and we can get that together. I would be more than happy to make up some educational pamphlets for you. Thank you so much.